All right. We've got the man, the myth, the legend, Titan's Chief Revenue Officer, Mr. Matthew Kronwald, here in the studio, and we're gonna address a few things because one thing that Kumquat's very grateful for is the line of communication that we have with Titan. And a lot of people are reaching out to me on social media, sharing with me their past experiences with Titan, and some are great and some are not so great. And one of the first things I've done is ask for a list of names, homeowners, and I've actually sent them to David Williamson. And it's so interesting how there's always two sides to a story.
Sure.
With that being said, we're just out here doing our best. I'm very grateful to have this partnership, and I'm grateful to be on the sales side of the industry where we get to find a homeowner, explain to a homeowner how solar works, qualify them for the best program, and hand it off to you guys who actually do the hardest part, which is installing glass on the roof.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, and that is a compliment. I tend to favor the sales side myself, and just appreciate how difficult it is to know that you woke up in the morning and there was no business sitting on your table and you had to walk out your front door and generate it out of thin air, is easily the hardest part of the gig. So, we're the most thankful for this partnership. We're the most thankful that Kumquat is going to be storming the industry and we get to be a piece of what is going to make them great. So, with that being said, Titan Solar Power has been the largest residential solar contractor in the country for the last several years. And that didn't happen by accident. We are a company that is known for really upholding our core values, which are integrity, excellence, and respect. Those are the three things that we try to accomplish, whether it's a homeowner, an employee, a sales group. We want to make sure that they know that we're going to do what we say, that we're going to do it well, and that we're going to do it nicely. And those are the three things that we try to do with everybody. And that's been, the foundation of our success.
I love that. Another thing that Kumquat's going to take a lot of pride in is actually having project coordinators, pipeline managers, and solar liaisons that are going to be scrubbing projects to make sure we turn in clean deals to Titan, and then that are going to be able to follow up with Titan and actually communicate. We're even talking about having some of these Kumquat employees inside of the same office as Titan, that we just get more and more installs on the glass faster and faster without sacrificing, of course, quality and integrity, right? And to align with an installer that is able to be number one without taking any shortcuts speaks volumes.
I appreciate it, yeah. And one of the fun parts of this exercise, working with Edmund and the Kumquat team has been to figure out ways that we can tighten up communication and figure out, working with their side and the level of support that they are really creating so that salespeople can do exactly what they do best, which is go out and sell, and then really have a high degree of trust that the back-end support team is going to be there to get your project across the finish line as expeditiously as possible. Some markets move faster than others. Some markets are more challenging than others. The biggest thing that we want to make sure that you have is that you are armed and ready with as much information as possible so that when you are clearly, accurately communicating to your homeowners what those expectations are, that you're not guessing. And the learning software and stuff like that you guys have put together is pretty remarkable.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll leave you guys with this. I got started in solar January 5th, 2019. Put up 202 sales my first year personally, built a team that did 729 sales, and only 36% of them installed. I made $181,000 as a 1099 rep. And the way I see solar today from when I started, I'm very grateful because the industry has evolved. And I would encourage you, if you're looking at this video, where do you want to be 5 years from now? Because the next 5 years are going to fly by. And for us at Kumquat Solar, we realize that this partnership with Titan is everything. At the end of the day, we're trusting them with our homeowners, our relationships, our hard work, our blood, sweat, and tears. And that is why ultimately, out of all the installers in the space, and you can imagine there's a few of them in my DMs, there's a few of them that have reached out, there's a few carrots that have been dangled, there's a little bit of immediate instant gratification that is available to someone like me. And none of it has been entertained for very long, right? Do not expect what you don't inspect. You know, don't leave your life and your business and faith and people's livelihoods up to chance, and actually partner up with a company that's financially sound, that actually has a track record of being able to get glass on the roof, and that does it better than anyone else in the space. And I'm not saying that, it's not my opinion, it's just a fact.
I mean, that's what the records show, and I think it's one of the reasons why this partnership is going to be so great is that Titan has always lived by those same core values. And sometimes that has come at the expense of our Facebook reputation or whatever, and people that go out and they like to throw some shade. And the reality is that there have been a lot of folks that have made a splash in this business on the install side and that have not made it. And we don't want to be that. We make decisions with the long game in mind, knowing that we have a 25-year relationship with each one of these customers, and in order for us to really honor that, we got to be here. Yeah. So, that's the Titan motto and the vision of what we are trying to do, and I think it's one of the reasons why this partnership is so great.
A lot of conversation around California and NEM 3.0, and you guys are force to be reckoned with in a lot of states. What are your plans for California?
Yeah, California is going through a major overhaul. Any person who's sold a deal out there, even this year, I'm sure has heard of NEM 3.0 and how that's going to really change the environment out there. We've been devoting a ton of hours working with SolarEdge and some of our different partners that can give us real data on when homeowners are using power, how they're using power, and how we're going to need to adjust in order to make sure that we're still providing a value proposition that works for everybody. So there are a couple of major changes coming to California. The biggest thing is the battery conversation. Everybody wants to talk about what's going to go on with batteries in California. Battery technology has continued to improve and costs have continued to go down, but it is still a very expensive piece of equipment for most homeowners when we're talking about adding it to every single project, which is kind of the way that California is going. So one of the pivots that we are working on is actually creating a battery program that would be somewhat unique and a little bit more cost effective, but it would drop the backup option. It would act as like a time of use buffer to make sure that homeowners are really taking advantage of what was in the battery during the high peak hours that their home is still going to be generating a lot of draw, but doesn't have enough sun to cover what they can pull off of their roof. So that's one of the solutions that we're working on. We've got some really great battery partners like with Franklin Whole Home. We've got guaranteed inventory, so we're not going to have an issue out there in regards to that, and still working on how we want to be able to fully generate proposals that really kind of highlight how the NEM program works.
Beautiful. Another thing I wanted to cover was cash flow when you guys actually pay. To me, cash flow is something that I am pretty accustomed to, and it's a kind of a scary period in my life right now. I have not been, receiving the kind of cash flow that I've been accustomed to. And in solar, I remember moving out to California, and I would have to choose either between a $60 a night room or sleeping in my Camry. And I was living off of, $500 upfronts, but they were paid every 2 weeks. And my goal was to sell a deal a day. Can I sell one project a day? Can I survive? Can I make it to that next Friday paycheck? I think back then it was actually Tuesdays. And I actually found out a very pleasant surprise, because I'm not used to this with our previous installer.
Sure.
But you guys, when do you guys actually pay after the project's installed?
Yeah, so it's the Friday following.
Wow.
And
wow.
So it's one of the things that Titan has prided ourselves in from the beginning, and this was David Williamson and how he really views Titan as a extension of salespeople.
So whether or not you guys have been paid from the financer, from the bank, you guys still are going to pay the field or pay Kumquat the next Friday.
You got it. So wow. As long as the installation was completed.
You guys don't get it.
Yeah, as long as the installation was completed, we pay the following Friday, and it's something that we
do
really without exception.
It out of your pocket.
Yes, both on any sort of upfront and at the end, yeah.
That's huge.
And it is one of the important things about Titan and the way that we've been so well capitalized by our ownership over the time that we've been in business, because it has positioned us for some of the market adjustments that we're seeing today. So one of the things that has come out from the SVB debacle that took place last month is that a lot of the capital providers are really scared to provide upfront payments to the installer. So when you look at GoodLeap, Dividend, Mosaic, Sunlight Financial, a lot of these people have been able to attract business in by saying, look, we're going to give you a 50% advance or 40% advance or something like that.
So everyone is tightening up.
Everybody is feeling the wrench really kind of start to turn, and the money isn't flowing quite as easy. So
this is where you build your wealth in solar, by the way, guys. I built my wealth during the pandemic when everybody was at home watching Netflix, hanging out with family. I was in a studio apartment working 18-hour days. And this is a time where homeowners are going to care more and more about their utility bills. They're going to stay at home more and more because there's nothing else for them to do because they can't afford to do anything else. And that is where we come in and save the day.
100%. And Titan is, we're in a position to where these types of market movements, we just don't feel them. And it's because of the way that, the business has really been structured. So we're excited about the future.
Amazing. So you guys are actually opening up a couple more states, 2 of them that are very dear to Kumquat's heart, and we've got some established leadership in these markets. You've got Idaho, Maryland.
So good news is Maryland is live. We're ready to go. In fact, we were just meeting this week as a C-suite to talk about getting our own buildings and crews out there. Right now, we're still subbing out a lot of work, but in the not too distant future, that is going to be a state that we are very excited to dominate. And then Idaho is one of the brand new, fresh off of the grill states that we are going to be launching, I think that just in April. So we've already got a employee team that is out there. We've got a letter of intent in on a building. This stuff is flying along as far as opening up that as a new market with a really established group of people out there that we know, like, and trust. So
when you say letter of intent in on a building, are you guys buying a building?
Buying a building, yeah.
You guys are not even starting out with a...
This is one of those things where when Titan moves into a market, we try when it makes sense to be able to own the building, because it says something to a homeowner when you can say, I'm a local company that owns a local building with local employees. And yes, I might be the largest national installer for residential solar. However, it's the local people that are going to be the ones that are coming to your house, and we have a local presence.
You heard it here first, top 1%. By the way, if you guys want some Kumquat swag and if you want to represent the brand, we've got a great store locally sourced here in Arizona, a dear friend of BK's, and you can go to kumquatswag.com and order the freshest, hottest gear in the game. We'll see you at the top or from the top.
Cheers.